In rural southern Illinois, a toy company began selling realistic baby dolls to expectant mothers, but apparently after the mother had her child, the toy baby would start crying. Eventually, the rocking motion advertised to calm it down wouldn't work, and you couldn't get it to stop without shaking it. Eventually, when it started crying, the parent would have to beat it, and the beatings and thrashings would have to get harder and harder to get it to be quiet. The only thing that seemed to shut the baby doll up permanently was to bash its head against the wall to destroy whatever mechanism triggered the crying. On more than one occasion, though, neighbors called the authorities to report child abuse, and when the police arrived, they found the bloody remains of infants smeared across the walls and the floor. In most cases, the mother couldn't understand why the police were there. She just got rid of the stupid doll. As she rocked a baby-shaped bundle in her arms. "Daddy, I had a bad dream." You blink your eyes and pull up on your elbows. Your clock glows red in the darkness. It's 3:23.
Do you want to climb into bed and tell me about it?
No, Daddy. The oddness of the situation wakes you up more fully. You can barely make out your daughter's pale form in the darkness of your room.
Why not, sweetie?
Because, in my dream, when I told you about the dream, the thing wearing Mommy's skin sat up. For a moment you feel paralyzed. You can't take your eyes off your daughter's form. The covers behind you begin to shift. I look into the night, and I know I'm in a trance. As my head turns to the right, I see the shadows dance. The voices keep on saying, do it, die. I feel my skull expanding. At least I have to try. I can't take all the screaming. On the balcony I kneel. I feel like I am dreaming, but no dream is this real. I jump towards my death. I watch the ground get closer. As my bones rip through my flesh, I know my life is over. Now you read my story. Look out the corner of your eye. I'm screaming at you hoarsely. Do it, die. Why do you do it? You don't know why, but you do. You make sure the windows are locked. You check the other side of the door and your closet. You even check under your bed. Why do you do this? Does ripping open the shower curtain and seeing nothing there make you feel safe? Does scoping the area with your eyes after reading a scary story reassure you? Well, it shouldn't. Because, by the time you've looked, I've already hidden. My son and I often play games. He's 5 years old, so our games can range from pirate battles in the middle of the ocean to simple board games like Snakes and Ladders. Today we decided to play hide and seek. I counted to 50 while he went to hide in one of the 3 hiding places that he always picks. "Ready or not, here I come," I called out as I slowly made my way to the sofa. I looked down and there he was, 2 little feet sticking out from behind the sofa, accompanied by muffled laughter. "Oh, I can't find you anywhere," I exclaimed, knowing that the idea that he'd hidden well would cause him to jump out of his hiding place in excitement. "Right," I said. "Time for bed." As I tucked my son into bed and kissed him goodnight, a small figure appeared in the bedroom door.
"Mommy,"
it whispered.
"you didn't come find me."
You are home alone, and you hear on the news about the profile of a murderer who is on the loose. You look out the sliding glass door to your backyard and you notice a man standing outside in the snow. He fits the profile of the murderer exactly and he's smiling at you. You gulp and you pick up the phone to your right and dial 911. You look back out the glass as you press the phone to your ear and notice he's much closer to you now. You then drop the phone in shock. There are no footprints in the snow. It's his reflection. A few months ago, a friend of mine who is an up-and-coming nature photographer decided to spend a day and a night alone in the woods outside of our town. She wanted to get photos of the woods and wildlife as naturally as she could for her portfolio. She wasn't afraid of being alone, as she had camped by herself many times before. She set up a tent in the middle of a small clearing and spent the day taking pictures. She filled up 4 rolls of film on that trip, but when she went and got them developed, she saw 4 pictures that unsettled her. These 4 pictures were taken from inside the tent, of her, asleep, in the middle of the night. When I was a child, my family moved to a big old 2-floor house, with big empty rooms and creaking floorboards. Both my parents worked, so I was often alone when I came home from school. One early evening, when I came home, the house was still dark. I called out, "Mom?" and I heard her sing-song voice say, "Yes," from upstairs. I called her again as I climbed the stairs to see which room she was in, and again I got the same "Yes" reply. We were decorating at the time, and I didn't know my way around the maze of rooms, but she was in one of the far ones, right down the hall. I felt uneasy, but I figured that was only natural, so I rushed forward to see my mom, knowing that her presence would calm my fears, as a mother's presence always does. Just as I reached for the handle of the door to let myself into the room, I heard the front door downstairs open, and my mother call, "Sweetie, are you home?" in a cheery voice. I jumped back, startled, and ran down the stairs to her, but as I glanced back from the top of the stairs, the door to the room slowly opened a crack. For a brief moment I saw something strange in there, and I don't know what it was, but it was staring at me. I haven't been sleeping much anymore. My two-room apartment has a window right next to my bed. I've started to notice something odd about the people going by. Have you ever seen how video game characters don't seem to walk? They just glide forward while doing a walking animation, like a reverse moonwalk. That's what they do. They don't tip forward with each step, and they keep their torsos completely straight and legs moving beneath them while drifting past my window. The other thing I find weird about them is that all of them are very, very smartly dressed. All of the women wear long Victorian-looking dresses with puffy, usually red or blue short sleeves. The men all wear tuxedos with pants that go very far up their torsos. Some of the older men have short black canes with metal balls on the top. They walk by my window every day, about 2 per minute. Their timing not changing when the sky goes dark. There's still one thing I can't quite figure out, though. I live on the 16th floor. I'm very worried about my son, more than worried at this point, terrified. His behavior these past few weeks is not normal, not healthy. It makes me think there's something wrong. At first, he'd just come and stand at the doorway. He did this at night, just before I'd be ready to fall asleep. I'd roll over to turn off the lamp, and he'd be standing there, in the doorway. I used to try to speak to him. I don't do that anymore. He never has answered me. He just stares. A couple of days ago, he graduated from standing in the doorway to coming in and sitting on the bed. He still doesn't speak. I have asked him what he wants. I've asked him if anything is bothering him. It's not like him to be so quiet. He usually waits until my wife is asleep. That's the part that gets me. She always falls asleep before me, and he's never come in when she's awake. But then, she didn't have a hand in this. If something doesn't change soon, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm starting to feel like he knows that I'm the one who killed him. Don't dismiss this outright as the work of some raving lunatic. There's some sense to this story if you'll just hear me out. Look, we all wonder if time travel is possible, right? Well, let me tell you something. It is. I'm from the future, actually. I know you probably don't believe that, but seriously, I'm from the future. It's a really great thing. Getting to see the past, watching events unfold, stuff like that. We know more now than we ever would. Behind all the fun, though, there's a more serious aspect. We aren't supposed to go into our own lifetime, and we're never allowed to contact our past selves. Let me tell you, I'm breaking that rule right now. Yeah, kid, you're talking to yourself. Your future self. I'm gonna be executed for this, but you know what? I accept that. I'm preventing something by talking to you that is worse than death. I can't tell you outright what to do, because the filters would catch it. This is the closest I can get, trust me. I can, however, send a little message. You should probably read the first word of every paragraph. Now.